full-service structural steel to leading industrial and residential builders across all metropolitan Melbourne and regional areas of Victoria. At Genesis Steel, we take pride in our product, service and reputation. With over 40 years industry experience, Genesis Steel manages all aspects of steel fabrication, from on-site measuring, in-house drafting, fabrication, through to full site installation. We work closely with our customers to deliver innovative solutions to facilitate projects of any size. For further information, please contact genessteel.com.au or contact the company on 03 9465 1287.
MS Designer Living specialise in architectural design and construction of new homes, unit developments, extensions, renovations and commercial buildings. They are located at 14 to 19 Enterprise Drive, Bundoora, and can be contacted on 03 9467 6954. MS Designer Living.
Preston, near post City. It's in. And again, Warren Spink has a hand in it. Andrew Zinni scores the goal. Not only are the fans winning on the terraces, the team are winning on the pitch. 2 goals in 2 minutes. 2-1 up, Preston Macedonia, and we've got an invasion on.
Crossfield ball for Taneski to try the spectacular. It's brilliant. Is it over the line? Yes. What's a goal from Alex Taneski?
It's good. It's the winner. What a great goal by Kukulevski. The crowd has gone wild, ladies and gentlemen. The Preston Lions are the Premiership champions.
Cross pull at the back post. There it is. And is that the goal that takes them up?
Through ball for Spink. He's in the box. Back for Cole. Cole square. Here's a chance for Smith. Smith, yes, it's there. Spink, Cole, Smith doing the damage. 1-0.
Hello and welcome along. It's the season finale of the Lions Den here live from the Pavilion. I'm Josh Parrish and we've assembled the Brains Trust this week. We're going to speak to Louie Acevski and our newly appointed football director Sasa Ognenovski a little bit later. But first, we're celebrating the women's program and the incredible success they've had this year. And we're looking ahead to a semi-final tomorrow night. Sarkies, Dan, welcome along.
Thanks for having us, bud.
Thank you.
No, it's an absolute pleasure to have you guys here. Firstly, let's talk about the weekend, Dan. There wasn't too much suspense in the final outcome of the league title, but nice to finish it off with a win, huh?
It was a little bit of suspense up until halftime, I guess, but not that much. I think Burundara finished 8 or 10 in the end, and they needed 20-something, so kind of comfortable in the end. But I was saying to South Yarra's coach just after the game, I shook his hand and I said, if I'd have come to the last round of the season, having to play them here, I wouldn't have been excited about the game if I wasn't 3 points ahead, because they are very, very frustrating to play against. Very frustrating to play against. Decent team, coached really well, I think.
Yeah, they kept you scoreless till half-time, but eventually Kiwi did the business.
She did, as she tends to do.
And Sarkies, your reserve side took out the championship as well. Pretty special to do the double in both groups.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's, I know we sort of finished off the season a couple of weeks ago with the win over Melbourne Uni, but we still had a bit of a job to do as well. So it was good to get the win on the final round, and then great to see the senior girls get up as well. And yeah, I think we went through about 15, 16 bottles of champagne. He got ice bucketed, so it was good to see.
I think there might have been a shoey in there as well.
There was a
yes, there was a shoey.
I only make promises that I can keep.
That was a promise, was it?
It was. It was. I'm not going to say a bet that I lost, but I did make a promise that if we won the championship, I'd do a shoey, and had to roll my eyes a little bit. So,
I mean, do you get involved with the celebrations, because we were in the thick of it?
No, I just tend to let the girls. The girls do the work week in, week out, so let them enjoy it. We, coaches always do things in the background, so it was good. Still proud of everything that we've achieved. I remember I was I was actually thinking about it the other night. 2020, we sat in there pre-season before everything, went out, and we had it on the whiteboard. Points we were going to score, how many wins, and all this kind of stuff. And I was looking for the photo I took, and I couldn't remember it. But I just thought, geez, it's like 3 years basically. So, yeah. So it was like, I guess, a huge sense of relief as well. But yeah, no, totally happy with for the girls as well. Like, the girls have been awesome. Long, tough season, but they've stuck it out. So no, it's great.
You mentioned it's not just been this year. It's been a long process. These unique circumstances that we've had. 3 years in the making. It feels like the longest season that's ever been.
Yeah.
I mean, pretty much. I think they've done 3 and a bit pre-seasons for one full season. So
that's a lot of running for not that much football.
It's a lot of running, and I don't know about everyone else, but our girls do a lot of kilometres. I think the average is probably somewhere around 10 kilometres a game. Plus they do somewhere between 15 and 20 kilometres during the week. So they probably do 30 kilometres a week with Preston, the senior girls anyway.
When you're playing on a pitch like that, that's what you need.
What choice have you got?
Exactly. It can be your advantage, but also it's not a burden, but it's a responsibility to be ready for that.
Yeah.
How much did I guess the strength and conditioning work that you put in the off season, new people you brought in help out with that side of things?
I think Sarks can probably answer on his own, but I think for me it's been absolutely massive. I think we've only had 3 that I can remember soft tissue injuries this year in total. 2 were to live, and 1 to Rachel, and the one to Rachel was a tweak on the Monday, and she still played on the weekend. So it wasn't anything too special. I think Liv's only missed maybe 2 fixtures because hers was sort of back end of pre-season. So for me to go through an entire season with basically no soft tissue injuries, I think you can put almost all of that down to Nacho and the strength that we did in the pre-season, and being in the gym and making sure that we got them strong and ready to go, so that they weren't coming out and hurting themselves by trying to overload during the season. We did all that work in the pre-season already. So
Sarks, is your best practice evolving over the course of this? What have you learnt over this long period?
Just patience, really. Like, I know it's probably not the answer everyone's looking for, but like, it's just you just got to be patient. Like, sometimes you have a rough day, or the girls have a rough day, and things don't go well, and you just sort of sometimes you just got to like give it some time and then come back and then address it, or whatever it might be. But I think I think patience. I think I've learnt a lot this season. So yeah.
Same question to you, Dan.
Oh look, I don't think you ever stop learning, ever. So I think this is my 17th consecutive season coaching, and I think this year for me, the thing that I've learnt the most is that it is impossible to make everybody happy. You can't do it. As much as you try, you can't do it. So the only thing that you can do is be honest, and hoping that if you're honest with them, that they'll just accept it. They don't have to always like it, but sometimes they'll accept it. So for me, trying to make everybody as happy as is possible, whilst also keeping my integrity and making sure that I'm being honest with them all is the fine balance. I think that as coaches, I'm sure Lou will say something similar, is the fine balance that we have to tread, I guess. So,
what about some of the individual achievements this year? You mentioned a top scorer in your ranks, Sarks.
Yeah, that was. Especially, I think she had about 4 chances to
she
4
did.
one-on-ones.
She did.
To
this
score.
Being Jules Pavia.
Yeah, Jules. And I shouldn't probably say this, but in the club rooms, or in the change rooms at the start, I just said, look, she's on 18. Let's try and get her over the line as well, and just to put that added pressure. But no, that's obviously that obviously stands out, and everyone's played their part. I can't single out anyone. Young Neve, first real big season. I think she come away with 12
I
goals.
think we had 3 of the top 5 goal scorers in the reserves, and 3 of the top 5 in the seniors as well.
Yeah. So, but everyone's played their part, even, Zamzam, she's 15, started off with 2 weeks senior and reserve goalkeeper, didn't concede a goal, saved the penalty on her debut for seniors, and we could be here all night talking about, all that kind of stuff. So
There's been some moments, haven't there?
It's been awesome.
Yeah.
It's been unbelievable.
Some special moments that stand out to you, Dan?
There's a lot of pretty special goals, I think, that we've hit this year.
Because I asked Di for a season highlight last week, and she said the game you lost.
Thanks, Di.
It was the turning point.
Thanks, Di.
Is that because she wasn't playing? She wanted to...
She wanted to play, yeah. She was away that week, actually, wasn't she? Yeah, I remember. Look, I think that moment, that loss to Casey was a turning point for us, because I think we'd played very well up until then. We hadn't dropped a point really. I think we drew with Knights, but we hadn't been beaten, and we'd beaten Burundara like we were supposed to, and we went there probably a little bit cocky. I think probably expecting to win that game comfortably. They had a little bit to play for, and they were really up and about, and we weren't. And at the end of the day, that hurts you. And we got done 1-0 from a 35-metre toe poke, right? And that happens in football. And I think that there was a moment, definitely, that changed the course of their attitudes towards how we take on teams that are maybe perceived as not as good as we are, And believe me, there's a few teams that are not perceived that way that can definitely hurt you. Casey being one, South Yarra being another, Southern being another. I mean, everybody just sort of expected Burundara and us to run away with it. And although it kind of looks like that, it's not really like that in reality. There've been some pretty tight games this year. I mean, South Yarra at their place 1-0. Knights here 2-2. It's not been the
and
runaway.
equalising with the last kick.
And we did literally equalise with the last kick, Garcia, with 92nd minute. So the season hasn't been all rainbows, although it looks that way. So for me, look, highlight, I would like to say, I think getting Rachel her golden boot is a highlight for us, because I think that was one of her personal goals that we managed to tick that box.
How many goals did she end up with in the end?
27 in 18 games, yeah.
That's a decent strike rate.
That's a decent return, yeah. I think Kawa ended up with...
They say decent strikers get 1 in 2. She gets 2 in 1.
2 in 1, yeah. I think Kawa ended up with 14 or 15, and Miri ended up with a dozen as well. So, look, I think that for me, my highlight was I always knew it was going to be a real challenge bringing 2 new forwards in Garcia and Kawa to play with Rachel, because they'd never played together before and they both came in late. So although they're all quality, getting them to gel was always going to be a real challenge, because all 3 of them are completely different but very much the same. So, Garcia playing on the right or left, and she's a centre forward, Rachel playing through the middle, and Kawa having been a left back in her previous life apparently, being a winger was always going to be a real challenge for us. And I think for me, by the end of the season, having those 3 players all linking up really nicely and playing well together, I think that's my highlight, really.
I can't get over the fact that Kawa used to play left back.
Left back, apparently. Yeah, I did it. She waited till the second last game to tell me that she was a left back, and I was like, "You're a left back?" She's like, "Yes, left back," and I was like, "Okay, not here, you're not."
I mean, nothing against left backs.
No, nothing against
very
left backs.
Very important players, but
it probably does explain the 4 goals I think she got from our 18-yard box, taking on the entire team.
Yeah,
that probably explains her comfortable, going forward from there. So,
Sarks, with this reserves team, how much do you take pride in, I guess, developing some of the younger players and seeing them kick on?
Yeah, mate, heaps. It's my day-to-day job. Like I teach kids, so watching them develop and grow, and just that confidence, it's great to see. So yeah, I don't know what else to say. Like, yeah.
I'll jump in.
What can you
no.
say about what this man does for you? And
There's two things that I'll
Not
jump in.
much.
There's two things that I'll jump in and
Give
say.
him a headache.
The first one is definitely that it's not every day that your team wins a championship undefeated. I think they scored 100 and 10 goals and conceded 5 for a whole year.
I think I promised to refer to them as the Invincibles from now on.
So the Invincibles have had obviously a fantastic season, and I think that Sarkies asks a lot of questions from me and from Liam and from the boys as well about what should I do here, what should I do there, and learning the coaching journey. But I think what I can say about him is, from a personality perspective, the girls absolutely adore what he does for them. Whether that's, I've taken 2/3 of them for a session and he's left with 7 players and he's have to put on a session for 7 players, which, in my experience, the reserve coach is by miles the hardest job in any club, because you don't get to decide who you train, you get what's left. And it's been my experience as a reserve coach, and I think it's been Liam's experience and I can tell you for a fact it's been Sarkis. It's been his experience as a reserve coach is, to be able to run a session for 7 players or 9 players because, I've had to take whoever I've had to take. That for me is a character building thing. That for me tells you the type of person that he is. Right, come on, let's get on with it and let's get it done. And to still achieve something in the session and then go on the weekend and integrate senior players who have come down and integrate those senior players into his group who maybe haven't all trained together, and then integrate them on match day and rotate them as well is very difficult. I can tell you that.
Yeah, rotating 6 off the bench when another 3 or 4 seniors have to have 90 minutes. So it's not many players you can rotate.
Sounds like a juggling act.
Yeah. You'd see me on the sidelines. I'm writing my changes down more often than watching the game. So no, it's been a juggling. It's been juggling. But again, I think patience is the key there as well. And these guys have always been helpful as much as they can, but obviously he's got to go out there and put the best team on the park as well, so he's got to keep his players fit, and players who miss out come down, and so on and so forth. And like we said before with the strength and conditioning, we've got 40 players. Not many teams,
none,
especially at this stage of the season, to have 40 players available to play. We have to drop players. That's how many players we've got, and everyone's fit and ready to go. So it's again, it's all the work that we did up front, and we sort of reap the rewards from it towards the end of it. So.
Well, you seem to have done a fantastic job if results are anything to go by, and if the team spirit is anything to go by. Because, I mean, if you say nothing else, those girls have had fun this year.
That is something.
It's so obvious that they really enjoy the atmosphere.
Yeah. I mean, they even though we finished the season, they still want to come down and train this week. Don't know how to have fun. They're still young, so
they don't need our help for that.
It was a lot of girls had a lot of fun, and we brought in a lot of new girls as well, and they've all been new friendships and all that kind of stuff. So it's been awesome. It's been awesome.
Speaking of having fun and celebrations, I need to know who brought the ski goggles.
Danny. There's only one Danny. I'll tell you now. There's only one Danny. It was obviously pre-planned that she didn't want to get champagne in her eyes, so she's brought down the ski goggles to make sure that didn't happen. I hope that it didn't help at all. I hope that it was she was covered in it. So I think the girls have really desperately wanted this for at least 2 seasons, because the first season obviously didn't happen at all, and then last year was cut short.
Somehow even more heartbreaking in a way when you come so close.
Yeah, and I think that we did it more comfortably this year than we maybe would have done it last year. But I think that the result would have been the same. I think that last year we were in a position where we'd just gone on to beat Bundara and we were good to go, game in hand. I think we would have gone on to win it last year, or at least gone really, really close. Whereas this year, we recruited well. We kept basically everybody. We picked up good reserves who were ready to step into the seniors, and it put us in a really strong position, and they finally got to celebrate. They couldn't believe that last week, the catch-up round before the last game, was their first weekend off since the 5th of January.
Far out.
Yeah.
It's a longer season than it seems.
Yeah, because I wanted to make sure that they got a proper preseason. They hadn't had a season for 2 years before that. So there's no possible way that they could have come conditioned to be able to play. So we did 12 or 13 weeks preseason, which is a long preseason by anybody's standards. And it was a tough preseason. We put them through the ringer. We made sure that they were prepared, and they deserve to celebrate the way that they celebrated on the weekend. That's why you'll notice in the video I don't even flinch when they put that water over the top of me, because they deserved it. They'd earned the right to do that. So it was perfectly fine by me.
Are you going to let Sarks tip an ice bucket over you if you win the championship?
No, they've had their chance.
So we've got finals. We've got a final series, which was a surprise to some. We didn't know if this was going to happen or not, but it is.
It was penciled into the calendar, but basically Football Victoria hadn't said anything after that. So we were like, is it on? Is it not on? When is it? We had no dates. We still actually don't even know the date or time for the final. Hasn't been announced yet by Football Victoria, so we don't know. The only thing that I do know is that there'll be one.
Well, if there's a semi-final, there's got to be a final. And
You
there
would
is
imagine.
a semi-final happening tomorrow night right here at 8 p.m. Genesee Steel Stadium taking on Melbourne University. How much importance are you placing on this?
It's an interesting question.
Because you're working towards finishing top of the league, and now there's this sort of extra tournament at the end. Which
Yeah. So I guess the two parts to that question. The first part is it as important as winning the league was and getting promoted was? No. Did Preston go out to lose ever? No. So this is, I would say, almost as important as the league was. But right now it's the only thing that we have to focus on. So the league is finished and done. We've won it. We've celebrated. Well done. Good job. Now we're on to winning the next set of games, so that I can get all the players now recontracted and ready to go for the year after, because they need their break. So these 2 weeks, finish it off, lift another trophy, become champions, and then obviously we start to prepare for next year. So,
well, knockout football is always exciting, and you got another trophy to lift, which is always a big draw card. So that's why we want everyone to get down tomorrow night. No more men's home games for the season, but we've got a women's home game happening tomorrow night, semi-final against Melbourne University. So get out and support, and hopefully we'll have a grand final to come the week after on a day that has yet to be determined.
Correct, at a location that is yet to be determined. Look, my guess is, historically they've held most finals at Hume, so I would guess it'll be there on a Sunday, but I couldn't tell you because Football Victoria don't know yet. So until that's announced, I can't really help too much. But tomorrow night here will be an absolute fantastic game. We beat them comfortably here last time, but they've got a couple of really, really dangerous players that didn't have great games last time, but had moments that we covered quite well. If they get their stuff together, they'll be another frustrating team to play against, I think. So I'm really excited for this game, actually.
It's going to be a real test, and it's our last home game of any kind in terms of seniors this year. So it's your last chance to come and watch some football.
To come and get some rolls.
Exactly, get some kebab rolls.
Yeah.
Get some CC and dries.
That's exactly right. Come get it in.
Hopefully we'll have a grand final to look forward to, and as soon as that date's determined, if we make it, keep an eye on the Preston socials. We'll keep you posted.
Absolutely.
But before I let you two go, we did have a massive sponsors function here last week, which was fantastic to see attach some faces to all the names that have supported our programs this year. Dan, how important have the sponsors been this year?
I can tell you that there is absolutely zero chance we would have been doing what we're doing this year without them. Absolutely zero chance. I think one of the fundamental things that I was told when I came to the club is that all of the girls will be looked after in the same way or as best as is possible. So every single senior player who plays on match day gets a match payment. Generally, it's not a lot because the budgets are not large, but it's something to make sure that some of their petrol is covered and things like that. And a lot of them travel a fair way. We got people from Bendigo and from Geelong and from Point Cook and Langwarrin and these people are travelling between 45 minutes and 2 hours to get here, and that's because it is Preston. So
3 nights a week training,
3 nights a week training plus so they've huge commitment from a lot of these girls, and I can tell you that we wouldn't be able to do what we do with the facilities, with the player quality, with the equipment that we have, with all the GPSs and ice baths and everything else that we need to run the club, to be able to keep the lights on in the pavilion. Without all of these things, being able to keep the canteen open, I can't imagine what this club would look like without the support of these people. You've got Readytel, a company that obviously that I run, we sponsor. We've got KFC Jobs. They've been fantastic for us this year. Harvey Norman have been fantastic for us this year. Radeski Cold Stores have been fantastic for us this year. And a special shout out to him, actually, to Steph from Radeski Cold Stores in Shepparton. He actually looks after Miri and helps her keep her visa every year, and he's happy to do the same thing again with Kayla, which is brilliant because they can get some regional work on the visas that they're on, and he's not only employs them, but he absolutely treats them like superstars. They're pop stars in Shepparton, I tell you that. He really does look after them, so a massive shout out to him as well, because without him, there's no way Miri would have been here over COVID. Not a chance. She'd have gone back to Japan, and we wouldn't have 40-yard bangers every week, right? So, without the sponsors, it would be a very, very, very different picture. I promise you that. So, sponsors who are watching, thank you so much for what you do for us, and hopefully you can come on again next year for NPL 1, because obviously this is the top competition in Victoria now, and we are in what I would consider prime position. With not only match days, every single game televised, a lot of crowds from away games, things like that. So for me, come back, please. It's been fantastic to have you all on board, and anyone else who's watching who's not a sponsor has an opportunity. That's exactly right. Please jump on board as well. Yeah, we do. We do.
Well, we're delighted to have some of those marquee players, the visa players, with us this season. Provided so much entertainment for the fans, and I wouldn't rule out another Kiwa Maisie run, solo goal, or another Miri Makadonka banger. And
never off the table. It's never off the table.
And before we go to a break, I do want to make special mention of KFC Jobs, Mitch and Chris, for their partnership with the KFC stores in Preston, Heidelberg, Hawthorn and Richmond. And it's a way to, if your kids are after some work, or anyone who's looking for some employment, it's a good place to go. So
good responsibilities.
So we've got it up on screen now, I believe. We've got the QR code there, so just head on to the QR code for direct access to some exciting youth employment opportunities. And a big thank you to all of our sponsors who've helped us out this season. And we're going around for one last home game tomorrow night against Melbourne University, 8 p.m. We'll see you there.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Dan. Thanks, Sarkies.
Cheers, mate.
Electrical Connectivity Australia is a leader in the electrical industry and specialises in matters of a domestic, commercial and industrial nature. Please contact Igor Georgievsky for any of your electrical needs on 03 9333 0433 or visit www.ecapl.com.
Genesis Steel offer full-service structural steel to leading industrial and residential builders across all metropolitan Melbourne and regional areas of Victoria. At Genesis Steel, we take pride in our product, service and reputation. With over 40 years industry experience, Genesis Steel manages all aspects of steel fabrication from on-site measuring, in-house drafting, fabrication through to full site installation. We work closely with our customers to deliver innovative solutions to facilitate projects of any size. For further information, please contact genessteel.com.au or contact the company on 03 9465 1287.
MS Designer Living specialise in architectural design and construction of new homes, unit developments, extensions, renovations and commercial buildings. They are located at 14 to 19 Enterprise Drive, Bundoora, and can be contacted on 03 9467 6954. MS Designer Living.
Electrical Connectivity Australia is a leader in the electrical industry and specialises in matters of a domestic, commercial and industrial nature. Please contact Igor Georgievsky for any of your electrical needs on 03 9333 0433 or visit www.ecapl.com.
Genesis Steel offer full-service structural steel to leading industrial and residential builders across all metropolitan Melbourne and regional areas of Victoria. At Genesis Steel, we take pride in our product, service and reputation. With over 40 years industry experience, Genesis Steel manages all aspects of steel fabrication from on-site measuring, in-house drafting, fabrication through to full site installation. We work closely with our customers to deliver innovative solutions to facilitate projects of any size. For further information, please contact genessteel.com.au or contact the company on 03 9465 1287.
You're listening to The Lions Den on FNR Football Nation Radio.
And we're back here on the Lions Den. For the final time this season, I'm delighted to be joined by the head coach, Louie Acevski, and our new football director, Sasa Ognenovski. Gents, welcome.
Thanks, Josh.
Yeah, thanks, Josh.
Firstly, Sash, congratulations on the new role. Has this been bubbling away for some time?
Yeah, we've been discussing it as a club, Dave and the committee and Lou, on more so on what we can do to make the club better. And we've got some planning in place to help, particularly in the junior setup, so we can create that pathway from that to out there.
You seem to have been bitten by the Preston bug again. You can't get away from this place.
Well, I can't. I've got 4 kids to play here, so it's pretty difficult to get away. I think the only day I get away from here, it's only a half day. It's Saturday afternoon. So that's about it. Otherwise, it's work and then come here.
Louis, you spend maybe even more time at the club than Sash does. What's the split actually between you two? Who's logged more hours?
No, Sash is definitely the 4 kids playing here. My kids don't play here, so look, we're obviously 4 nights a week probably I'm here, but Sash is, like I said, pretty much every day except half a day of the week. So we spend a lot of time here. We a lot of organising, a lot of structure, a lot of chatting, and not just football, but just having a good time as well sometimes. After training, I think we were till about 11:30 here last night.
Mm-hmm.
Again, dinner and a couple of drinks, and just that's one of the main reasons why we do this as well, Josh. You got to have some good times, not just always being serious.
Well, I've heard something about a Wednesday night wine club that's cropped up here.
That's Dave just starting rumours.
That's Sash's wages, isn't it? One bottle of vino per week.
Bottle of Grange. That's going to be the discussion.
We've got a massive game on Saturday, of course. Box Hill away from home. I'm fretting about how that pitch is going to be holding up in this weather. It's going to be a tough afternoon.
Yeah, we're not expecting it to be in good condition. That's okay. We're ready for it. We've discussed it. We've been there before. We played on it before last year, obviously, and that is what it is, Josh. Doesn't matter what ground we go to. The boys know that there's a job to be done, and we know it's going to be very tough. They're going to be up for it. They played a good game against Melbourne City last week, Box Hill. So we know, as I said to you, it's going to be incredibly tough. But the boys have worked really hard, so we're confident we're going to go out there and try and get the 3 points.
They're a tough side because they've played spoiler this year. They've taken points off City, off Victory, off us, of course.
Yeah. So last year when we played them there, we lost before COVID kicked in.
Yeah.
And then obviously this year at home, we lost 1-0 as well. We owe them one, that's for sure. But now look, it's what's happened in the past has happened. It's history, and history's always been made to be changed. We're looking forward to the future, and the future is it's a very simple equation for us. We get the 3 points, we finish championships. We finish champions, should I say, and the championship comes home. Massive effort by the boys, huge. Back early pre-season, January, we kept speaking about the same thing. The aim has always been to win the championship. So even when we got promotion a couple of weeks ago, that hunger, the endeavour is still there from the boys. So it's been a phenomenal effort by them.
I don't want to get stuck down in the granular because everyone knows how big a game it is and everyone's going to be there anyway. We know this. We know you're going to be there on Saturday, 3 p.m. kickoff at Wembley Park. Reggie's playing beforehand, 12:30, I believe. I want to zoom out a little bit into how you build these teams that are contending for titles, that are winning promotions. Like what's the first principle that you look at when you're trying to improve a side? If you rewind back through the years you spent here at Preston and other clubs as well.
I think I read in one of the comments recently that I went through 400 players or 500 players over the last few years. So, look, we can have a joke about it and have a laugh about it, but at the same time, Division 1 was a tough league. So if I go back a few years, that 2018 year when we didn't get promoted, it hurt. We learned a very, very valuable lesson. That year we went into a season without a renowned striker. And we always know that goals change games, and unfortunately we came good second half of the year. We went on a run, but just fell short. So 2019 was about making sure we had a lot of depth and a lot of quality in that squad, and I honestly believe that that's what got us over the line in 2019. 2020 we had a very strong NPL 3 team. Unfortunately, due to COVID, we didn't play a game except one cup game we played against Heidelberg Stars, if I remember correctly. So, nothing happened there. Then that year, I think we had Matty Thurtell come across from Bentley, Caniglia from Bentley. We had Tanevsky from Perth, Talamjovski, Pooley, Lockie. We had Matthew Breeze. We had some quality in that team. And then obviously last year came out, and again we had a solid team, but COVID broke it down for us. So, and this year of the transfer window closing, we always try and bring 2 very good players in each position, and I think that's just my theory and method on trying to make competition at a club. And things in football always happen: injuries, suspensions, drop of form. Anything can happen. So you've always got, that player on that same level ready to go again. So the team doesn't drop its standards. It's always there. So, but this year, look, we hurt a little bit this year. If you think about it from the start of the year, we lost James Poole, who moved across the other side of town, so he couldn't commit. Lockie Roos, he decided to leave. I think a month into pre-season or something like that. So we lost 2 really good midfielders in our team. So we already short on numbers in those positions, and then Nikola Talamjovski was supposed to come. I don't know what you want. There was a bit of a U-turn there before the season, before the transfer window, and T-Boy Kamara, who never showed up, basically. So when you go through these 4 names that could comfortably walk into any NPL 3 team and star in any team, it hurts you. But the boys stuck together. Again, I think it was the first 6 games we only played 1 home game as well.
Yep.
So we're up against it from day one. But the mentalities, the individuals, I've heard, Connor Bell, if it wasn't for Connor Bell, or if it wasn't for, James Harron, or if it wasn't for this individual, but that's what they're there for. That's what their job is to do,
If it wasn't for any of these
exactly
key
right.
players who've played roles this season. You've had to be a little bit creative. You had to find solutions in certain positions where, players have gone down. Centre back was a big one. Plans changed pretty quickly. Ersan Gulam going down in, was it round 3?
Correct. Yeah, look, and again, that goes to the depth of the squad. So, we spoke about it halfway through the year, and I said, big man, I need you to put the boots back on. And to his credit, he said, Lou, whatever needs to be done to win a championship. So, but our plan was never to play him. It was always Sash, just in case we get injuries or...
break glass in case of emergency.
Basically. But we broke that glass pretty much immediately, unfortunately, for him. But, he's come in and, not that he's sitting here or anything like that, he did a great job. So he's come on for 10 minutes, used his experience, won the game, closed off the game, etc. So you can't buy that experience, that knowledge. We've had Norm Sikolovsky, who's been injured for about 8 weeks or something like that. Put his injury aside, his contribution in that changing room on a psychological aspect, the boys love him. He's a character, he's a comedian. The support factor, he's up and about, pre-game energy. Doesn't matter what anybody tells you, it plays a massive contribution to this team. So everybody's played their part. And what's the solution, or the question you asked me at the start was simple. Just have depth and have some characters that are strong enough to take the pressure when those situations do come upon us.
Are there certain traits or profiles of a player that you prioritise, or certain non-negotiables that you have that to play Preston style of football, your style of football?
Look, I like to speak to the boys and find out what their characters are all about. And the attributes, good person, winners, ambition, drive. What is that driver? What's their orientation around the clubs where they've been and why they've left, or why do they want to come here? If it's solely, I just want to come for money, etc. It's not the club for, Preston's obviously not your club. But if they want to come and play in front of big crowds because they get the goosebumps, or they haven't experienced that before, they want to play at a club with pressure, because there's pressure here. There's full stop. We know that, yeah? If you want to come to Preston and just go through the motions, it's never going to happen here.
You can't swan in here and just say, I've got to be guaranteed a start or special treatment or anything. It doesn't happen.
Only the big man can do that. But look, you earn your position, you earn your spot. Some players don't like it. Anybody can get dropped or not play for whatever reason. But if you deserve to play, you'll get your opportunity again. And just do the right things. You don't have to be a superstar, but give me a 7 out of 10 performance week in, week out, and you'll play in that respect, But if it's in your locker to give me a 9 out of 10 every week and you're giving me a 7, well, then I'm going to question that as well, So, look, they're the attributes, they're the personalities, the characters of individuals is very, very important. No one's bigger than the club, starting from the coaching staff all the way down to the playing group. Club comes number one. So if in their eyes they're bigger than the club, they won't be here.
Sash, let's talk about your new role. What's the job description in your eyes? What's the mission ahead of you?
The mission for me is, I see all the work that has been done on the senior front, and it's fantastic. Yeah, proper person in place to run it and drive it. Speaking about leaders and characters, well, he's led this club for a long time, and the trajectory as a football side of things, obviously the business side of things is left to the committee, and they've done a fantastic job as well. But the senior side of football for Preston is almost where it needs to be. There's still a lot of work to be done, but it's almost where it needs to be. Obviously, with my children playing here, walking around, watching training sessions. I've taken over the 15s. We lost one of the coaches. He moved back into state. So coaching the 15s and looking at the level of some of the kids, they get to a certain age point, and then they just stop playing football because they haven't been taught properly. They haven't been shown the right way. You're talking about, and not only at this club, NPL clubs and other community junior level clubs. You go around, and it's quite disheartening to see a 15-year-old or a 14-year-old who can't trap a ball and pass a ball properly, but they've been playing since they're very young. So obviously the teachings weren't there. And you can have, there's going to be discrepancies in athleticism and, level of footballer and all of that. But to not know the basic fundamentals after playing for, 5 or 6 years, it's for me, that's sad. So we want to make this junior setup here, from the Lion Cubs on Saturday mornings to the reserves, the elite coaching, elite coaches, elite programs. We want it to be the best in Australia. And that's what we're working on, and that's what we're working towards. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen maybe in a year. But we will put things in place to make sure that every child that walks through these doors gets taught how to play football the right way. And it's not about making super teams and winning championships. It's about making super footballers. Yeah, that comes after. But making football players and not making super teams, not dragging teams, a coach and a team across from another and bringing them here and winning. No, that's not what it's about. It's about having our structures in place here to make sure that we're producing the super teams that come once the footballers know what they're doing. So that's a major part of my role, and obviously assisting Lou and Caps with the senior team as well.
When you talk about the right way to play football, do you draw some of that from the approach that the senior teams are taking? And in terms of the style and what you're trying to prepare them for? Well,
that's what a pathway is. You're preparing him, even if he's 7 years old. You're preparing him or her. You're preparing him to get out there one day. So if you're not giving him the right information at that age, by the time they get there and they've had wrong information, they get to Lou and Lou asks them to do something, and they look at Lou, what are you talking about? Well, we need to educate them all the way through to make sure that when they get out there, the transition's easier. It's a lot easier. You see a lot of kids, they come from the reserves, and they come and train the senior team, and they're that step behind. They're a bit, just that, even just simple passing drills or something. It's just not there, and that's not the kid's fault. He just hasn't been taught the right way. So what we want to do is make sure that all our structures are in place. All our teams, when you look at them, they're all doing the same thing. It's not this team's doing that, the under 14s are doing that, the 10s are doing that. It's about making a uniform, strict program.
Sure. That's
going to improve coaches and players alike.
And it's giving coaches the resources they need and ensuring that there aren't, I guess, those gaps that are dependent on players switching teams and switching coaches and so forth.
Absolutely. I think that's a major part to make sure that the coaches are supported. Coaches have got everything they need, from session planning to programs to the whole lot, ready for them to go, and they just need to teach the kids how to do those programs, how to do those training sessions. In the background, us teaching them how to run those training sessions.
What's in it for you, aside from the bottle of Grange every week? What's driving you in this?
I'm really passionate about where Australian football's at.
Sure.
At the moment. I think we sent under 16 Australian team across somewhere last week or so, or maybe a fortnight ago. We lost to Myanmar. I think we lost to Cambodia.
Yep.
At one point out of a possible 9. And I look around and I say, how the minnow countries dominating and beating us, and you could slap. I think in the past you'd be able to slap together a Vic squad that would go and do something there, but it's just something's not right within the system. Something's not right within coaching. We're trying to coach and teach players to be a different mould to what an Australian footballer is. Yeah, Australian footballers were always stronger athletes, quicker, faster. That we had that. We had that aggression. We had that. You know, our technique probably wasn't the same as a Germany or a Spain, but we had something else. We had something else. And it might have been a combination of all the ethnicities and you know, different style of coaching and all of that. It may have been that. But what I see now is that it's too orientated on making super teams rather than producing footballers. And you know, you get your super teams. I know there's some teams that go through from, you know, under 12s, and the same coach coaches them all the way to 18s, and then they get to 18 and then they step into the reserves. They never play senior football, but that team's won everything all the way through. And they attracts good players, but they don't do anything. There's none of those players go on to do anything. It's again about creating a super team. Yeah, great, awesome. You know, you're winning every week. You're winning 10-0 every week. That's not development. That for me isn't development.
I guess that feeds into my next question, which was about sort of NPL versus community club, whether that matters, and you know how it factors into this whole, I guess, culture of club hopping, as you say, and these teams that, you know, might jump en masse from one club to another, and you know the inconsistencies in youth development. Where does Preston sit in all that? Because we know we don't have an NPL juniors license at the moment. Is that a priority, or
the priority is to get the structure right? Whether the NPL license comes or it doesn't come, at the moment, we're not focusing on that. We're focusing on getting our club right, making sure we've got the correct coaching, correct coaches, and players that are willing to learn. That's our focus. The NPL license with the right program, yes. The NPL license inevitably will come because my sons have played at NPL clubs, and I don't think there's many NPL clubs that have anything that resembles this. So as long as we put our planning in place and do all the right things, that license will inevitably come. But before that comes, whether it's community or NPL, the program needs to be set and it needs to be correct, and then the transition's very simple. Whether it's community or whether it's NPL level, we're always going to do the same thing.
Louie, how's it been to have Sash here to, I guess, lean on for, you know, back and forth during the season, the sort of strategy sessions that that go in, you know, each and every week after games, after training sessions?
Look, it's been great because obviously, you know, Kappa and I have been, you know, working together for whatever it is, 5 years now, and then bringing Sash in. Bringing Sash in at this level, and you know, getting a different opinion because you know, me and Kappa, as much as we love each other, we argue as well at the same time, and different opinions and different thoughts and the rest of it. But that's why Kappa's next to me, so to speak, in that respect, where you know he'll never just he'll never just say, yeah, Lou, you know, yeah, you're right. He's not a yes man. He'll tell me his opinion, and I'll go to Sash and say, big man, what are your thoughts? And he'll be honest with me and tell me what he thinks as well. To be honest, we speak around the whole change room. We go to the goalkeeper coach, Sinisha, and Zoki, the team manager. We'll have a chat, and it's very open communication. It's the inner sanctum. The reason why I ask him is the reason why they're in the first place, because there's a lot of trust there. Yeah, I value his opinion. I trust his opinion. Forget about where he's played. I value him as a person, most importantly. And we grew up together at this club, you know, I don't know how long ago, 25 years ago, whatever it was, if not longer. So, you know, we played senior football together. We know each other. So I know what I'm going to get with Sash. So having his opinion has been, you know, enormous for me. You know, sometimes I've agreed with what he said and gone down that path, and the same as Cap. Sometimes they've all said the same thing and I've gone completely opposite of that. It's fine line decisions. Sometimes it goes for you, sometimes it doesn't. There's no right or no wrong.
Well, it's about challenging him. Yeah. And if you agree with everything that the head coach says, then he's not getting challenged. He's not learning. He's not, you know, if you're going to have somebody there just to set out cones, that can be anyone. you have someone to challenge you and ask you a question that you may or may not be able to answer, that's when you know you've got people that really want to help. Yeah, because if you just exactly right. Yeah, no, you're correct, Lou. Well done, awesome. Then it's only one mind. You got 3 or 4 minds that have all, they've all done different things in all different parts of the world and whatever it may be. But
and the right intentions as well.
That's right, and that's 3 or 4 opinions that you can then process as a head coach. At the end of the day, you're the head coach. You make the decision. But if there's a process there's good points there. You can do all your pros and cons in your head, and then make a decision.
Yep, spot on.
It's an intense role, as we've covered on this show before. Do you plan to take any time off in the off season, recharge the batteries a little bit, refresh?
Yeah. Without a doubt, I do. Yeah. No. Look, we're going away with the family for a little bit end of September and a little bit in December. So Cap and Sash will be taking the trainings in December for a couple of weeks. Will be good.
You got a couple of lieutenants to leave in your stead nowadays.
I said, boys, you can have it the whole time. Not a problem at all. So for me, it's look, you need the break. I haven't had a holiday for a couple of years, and not a lot of people have during COVID, but with work, life, and football, and football's intense. And why is it so intense? Because it's my club. Yeah, it hurts so much when you lose, and when you win, it's great, but it's still not enough. You just feel like, should have won a little bit more, should have pushed a little bit. We lost that one game. It just hurts so much. It's your own club in that respect. So, so it drains you definitely. A lot of positives and, again, friendship, mateship, sitting around, having a laugh, having some dinner together. It's been phenomenal, and we've had a lot of good times at the club in the last, 4 to 5 years, and that's why we do it. That's the exact reason why we do it. When I see smiles on people's faces out there, our community, the Macedonian community, I don't believe has been this together for many, many years, and it's because of this club where they've got a place to go and see each other, rekindle those memories in the past, and make new memories in the future. So, gives me great joy to see that on people's faces.
What does promotion mean for the club next season?
Just another step in the right direction. I've spoken to players from our team this year, and obviously some other players from other teams for next year as well. At the same time, our ambition is huge, and what does that mean? Potentially, if we can go from an NPL2 straight to a B League, that's exactly what we want. We're going into NPL2, we're going to try and win another championship. But I'm hoping in a bit of right guidance, the right places, and the right people on board, with all our unbelievable sponsors and fans, and just the people that love the game. They'll support us and put us in this B League that it needs Preston. And if we're talking about improving the game of football in Australia at a B level or a second tier football game, I don't want to go to a game and watch whoever they want to play in front of 500 people again. I want a Preston versus South Melbourne, 5,000-6,000 people minimum. You want to go interstate and play Sydney United in front of 6,000-7,000, play Marconi, go to Adelaide, play against Adelaide City. You want that because this is the passion of the game. Sash touched on the generations of football where something's been missing. What's missing is the A-League kicked off and unbelievably, but the last 10 years, football's just declined. Supporter bases are declining. Why not put a team in there that's got everything, facilities, people, culture, on the up, and bring 6,000-7,000 people to the table? Why not?
I mean, we see it when the Australia Cup fixtures roll around in the last couple of weeks. There's been some phenomenal nights, different grounds around the state. Of course, we have something pretty special here at Preston, but we could have this every week. That not just when the carnival rolls into town. When an A-League team plays an NPL side, it could be like that every week if we can build it.
I guarantee if we're in that B League, we will have a minimum 5,000 people every week. I'm so comfortable in saying that. Not just here at Jenner Steel Stadium. I'm talking about taking it interstate, because back in the NSL days, and speak to Sash, his father used to get onto a car, drive all the way interstate and watch the games, and family, friends, we used to go there, and there used to be more Preston supporters than opposition supporters, interstate. So we will bring that to the table. We will bring that to Australian football. Australian football needs Preston as much as Preston needs Australian football.
And that's the driving goal, isn't it? At the end of the day.
Phenomenal. So that's the chat. That's the ambition. That's the drive. You were here, Josh, pre-game on Saturday. I think there was about 140 sponsors in this room. Which other club has 140 sponsors at this level? I've never seen it. But they've been supporting us since I've been at the club, at least 6-7 years as coach. And you look at them and they've got that fire in their eyes and the desire to see this club go up to that next level. I look at Greg Jenner's. His family supported this club since day dot, and I talked to Greg, and Greg goes, whatever it takes, we're going there. And when I talk to him, I get goosebumps. This is not just now the club. We're talking about individuals that. The guy who runs such a successful business, his family business, he hardly ever gets time to go see his family. But he was here 2 weeks ago talking about solutions, how we're going to make this club bigger and better, etc. He comes to the games not very often because of his time restraints. He's overseas. But you call him, he's the first one here, when you need him. So people don't have this, and we do. We need these people. They want us to succeed as a club, and we want them to be next to us.
Is it a bit more special for you, Sash, that it's your club? And
look.
Do you harbour those dreams as well? For
the club needs to be where it needs to be, and for us, that's like I said, from the junior program that we will set up, and we'll be elite. We'll be the best in the country. To where we need to be at a senior level. You only get there through hard work, and they've done amazing hard work. Yeah, the work's been there, and now our next step is to be in that B League and be on TV every week, where we were, where I remember us. Yeah, because the club's gone through a lot of hardship, and to see the club back on its feet, run incredibly well. Yeah. And like I said, there's still room for improvement on all facets, and people are still learning. But the dedication and 140 sponsors. Who has that? Who has that at this level? Who has that at some of the A-League clubs don't have that many sponsors. So we're talking about a club that has the ability to attract that. Needs to be where they deserve to be, and that's in the B League, and hopefully that comes sooner rather than later.
I want to zoom back in to the title that's up for grabs on Saturday and this season. Sash, Louie always gives me all sorts of modest answers when I ask him about the mid-season turnaround and 10 in a row and this, that and the other. Through your eyes, how did we get to this position? How did we turn it around? Still one game left, of course, but it's been remarkable.
Oh, look, there was a lull in the middle of the season. And the boys, we sat in the change rooms and we had a meeting, and a few honest truths were spoken, and Louie had his say, and we went around the whole change room talking about what it is and what it means and what you think we're doing wrong, and a few things were said, and I think towards the end of that meeting, I stood up and I said, boys, just remember that it's a privilege to play football, whether it's here or any other club. It's actually a privilege. There's not many people that are in your shoes. So make the most of the opportunity that's presented. There's enough quality in the room to win the league. And I think after that meeting, Lou, where everybody spoke openly, everybody looked each other in the eye and said, "Okay, let's stop dilly-dallying around and let's get on with the job." Lou set him a task of winning every game the rest of the season. As we knocked off one, okay, that one's finished, we're going to the next one. Knocked off that one, we're going to the next one. And they've started to believe in themselves and started to believe in what we were doing, and the results came.
And, Saturday, one more game to go. It's going to be a tough
That's all
one
it
out
is.
there.
That's all it is, one more win.
We spoke about it this week, and I think last night at training we just said simple, just the same formula, one more game. That's all it is, one more game. We go in there. People have said, we need one more point. Not interested in a point. We're interested in going there, doing what we're good at, and that's trying to get 3 points.
Well, we know we're going to have I don't have to do a big plug for this one, because we know the Preston faithful are going to come out in numbers, pack out Wembley Park on Saturday, and will this team over the finishing line, and we're going to have a fantastic day. And we've got our last person standing event as well, last chance to get tickets for that. Make sure you get on top of that, because that's going to be back at the old social club the night after, and I'm sure it's going to be a big celebration. But there's one really important topic that we've skimmed over. It's one Dave Sarkies insisted that I cover. So, Sasha, it's not just your football director role. You're also head of the unofficial Preston Lions Pigeon Club, I understand.
Yes, with my assistant Chris Capone. Working on that. We are working on that, yes.
Enlighten me, because this is a very foreign concept to me.
We were sitting here one night after a game, and we started talking, because his father's a pigeon enthusiast, and my father was as well, and I loved them. So I grew up, I'd drop my bag from school, it was either the soccer ball, dogs, or in the pigeon cage. So telling stories here with Caps is in amazement. He's like going, how can you love pigeons so much? Like, what's that sickness that you have? So hence that comment coming from Dave, yes. But my willing assistant, Chris Capone, will be involved in this too.
That's, of course, the most important pillar of our new direction. Is the, what is it, Gulabi?
Gulabi.
That's the one.
Yeah,
Yes.
the Gulabi. Yeah. The cage is just outside the stadium there. So
That's the next academy, Josh.
We've got to be developing our pigeons
Always.
when they hatch to when they fly.
Spot on.
Gents, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on tonight, and it's been a fantastic way to round out the season here on the Lions Den. I've been inspired tonight. I hope everyone else has by listening. I'm ready to run through a brick wall on Saturday. Hopefully I won't have to. It's, if Sasha's break glass in case of emergency, my mind's the apocalypse. But we're going to be there on Saturday. We look forward to seeing you all there as well. We've got our women's semi-final on Friday night as well. Don't forget, 8 p.m. kickoff here against Melbourne University. Louie Acevski, Sasa Ognenovski, thank you so much.
Thanks again, Josh.
We'll sign off. That's all from us on the Lions Den. Good night.
Preston, near post City. It's in. And again, Warren Spink has a hand in it. Andrew Zinni scores the goal. Not only are the fans winning on the terraces, the team are winning on the pitch. 2 goals in 2 minutes. 2-1 up, Preston Macedonia, and we've got an invasion on.
Crossfield ball for Taneski to try the spectacular.